Hi guys, and welcome back to another Gamers United video. This week I'm doing a run through Tempest Keep. I did mention it last week in the video that I did a few raid runs for mounts and pets, and this is some fresh footage that I put together just last night, so hopefully you'll get a kick out of it. I obviously won't narrate everything that's happening, and I'll talk about a few other things hopefully, but for the most part I've sort of just focused on the boss fights. You might notice that I've sped up the trash runs. It's running at 2 times speed, so that way you're not going to be sitting there just watching me go through trash over and over and over again. Okay, so here's the Phoenix. The Phoenix boss is the first boss that you come across in Tempest Keep. This boss, I originally thought many years ago that this was the boss that dropped the Phoenix mount, because the mount actually looks exactly like this Phoenix does, except obviously smaller so you could ride it. But it doesn't. It drops it's a Phoenix hatchling, or it's not called the Phoenix hatchling. It is called something else, but it is a Phoenix hatchling. So yeah, there's not really much to this boss fight. And once again, I do apologize for the jumps back and forward. I'm still using the demo version of Fraps. Hopefully over the next couple of weeks I'll be able to set aside some money and get the full version. That way we won't have distracting cuts back and forward. So this is the second part of the boss fight. The first part is just simply straightforward. It's a tank and spank. Being a solo run though, obviously you just smack the crap out of it and it will drop pretty quickly. The second part of the fight though, so it does pull the ads. Back in the day you would clear this room of ads before you initiated the boss fight. The second part of the fight though, you can see it drops the flame zone on the ground there, and it does up its damage a bit more. It does a knockback as well, I think, but if you're up against the wall, which is why I'm up here on the platforms, there's really no problems with it at all. So I go and loot the boss here, even though I've got trash still fighting me. It doesn't really bother me. The trash most of the time misses. As you can tell, yeah, the pet did not drop. It's a lot of the pets that are in Tempest Keep are rare, so they won't drop every time, obviously. They're not guaranteed drops. But it's always good if you can get one. If you don't have one already, then you can always sell it on the auction house, and they do sell for quite a bit. So some easy money, or easy gold. So we're going to go back into 2 times speed here in a minute, and once we do, I'll be going to the second boss. There are 2 other bosses that you can fight in here before the last boss. You could even just go straight to the last boss as well. Originally you used to have to take out all 3 bosses before you had access to the last boss, but obviously over the years that's changed. Yeah, as you can see, the trash really isn't that much of a worry. I'm just grabbing them all as I go, and I'll just AoE them down once I get to the boss. See, now I've slowed down again. I'll wait till all the ads come in. Now if you're a magic user for this fight, it might be a hassle for you, because as you can see I'm getting silenced almost every 2 seconds. Here we go, just AoE them all down. There we go, a couple more AoEs and then it'll just drop the rest of the trash. And it's just boss fight from here in. But as you can see, every time he does that, I'm assuming it's an electricity ball or some sort of lightning ball, it does silence you. So mage users or magic users are gonna have a bit of trouble possibly with this. I'm not too sure, as I don't really play any magic users. I am leveling a warlock in my spare time, but I don't have a lot of spare time as it is, so I do have a other low level alts. I've got a mage and a druid and all that kind of stuff, but they're on other servers and I don't play them very often. But anyway, so this one drops a pet, and it looks almost exactly like the boss does. It's a mini Reaver, but as you can see, the boss did not drop the pet. I do loot all the purples here, even though they're not really worth much. You know, they're 5 gold, but you know it all adds up. I don't pick up all the other grey trash and the trash loot. It's if you pick up every bit of trash loot, your bags will be full by the time you get halfway through a run. That's why I don't loot any of the trash, and I don't loot any of the trash items that drop from anything else. Bosses usually won't drop any trash items. So back into 2 times speed here. It's a bit of a run. I do just gather up as much trash as I can and head on through. Yeah, see, there's no resistance here. They will just keep hitting me. I do get a fair bit of trash here. This is usually how I run it. I'll gather up as much trash as possible. Stunned. I hate being stunned and CC'd, but yeah, unfortunately there's not much you can do about it with these trash mobs. A lot of Tempest Keep stuff is CC and being stun locked. Usually I would go and grab the other pack, but at this point they start doing a lot of damage to me. They usually do. Sometimes I risk it, sometimes I don't. So I just AoE them all down, and I grab the other pack and kill them off. As you can see, that's the final boss over there on the platform. I will leave him till last. It's a bigger fight than the rest of the bosses in here. So yeah. And if I go at 2 times speed, still gathering up the rest of the trash. As you can see, I didn't heal. I do have a warrior talent, Second Wind, which does it keeps me healed up. I think when I'm down to about 30% of my health, it slowly heals me over time. So if you're not getting too much damage done to you, then you're pretty close to invulnerable. But I do end up dying if I don't watch my health. As soon as I just empty a bit of that, and I do give myself a bit of a heal. Any characters that cannot heal through this, it's probably a good idea if you've got either potions or some sort of first aid skill, bandages or something, because yeah, you will probably need to be healing at least in some points. If you notice there, the boss and the trash did go green for a second there. I got I forget the name of it, charmed or something similar. It's where all the enemies become friendly. And also, if you were in here back in the day with a raid and that happened to you, then you'd be hitting your allies. Your allies would have gone to enemy status. So the boss there has turned into a void walker. That's what the boss looks like. The pet looks like that this one drops. I'm pretty sure I have most of the pets from here anyway, but I do run them, and if pets drop, then I'll either save them for someone else in the guild that I'm in, or I will just put them up on the auction house. The Phoenix hatchling that I discussed or talked about in the last video, that's still for sale. So if anyone really wants a Phoenix hatchling on the grand, by all means take a look on the auction house. There should still be one there. It's dropped in price a bit because once again no one's buying it, but that's how the auction house goes. So here we are coming up for the last boss as well. This boss is a bit more involved than the rest of them. Most of these are just obviously tank and spanks. You walk in there, you just deal as much damage as possible, and they drop. Especially this time, in this day and age, there's not a lot of resistance or technique to these bosses. They've been nerfed quite a bit, especially so people can solo them for the pets. So I'll slow down out of 2 times speed here. Now I will explain a little bit what's going on here. I stand over this side because obviously this is the first boss or the first mob that becomes active. This second one that runs over, I only back up here so I can use my charge ability. I think it's also when one of my 30-second cuts happen, so you won't see it happen. Yeah, there it cuts. But I do feared. He does a fear. A lot of these bosses here will do a lot of CC, so you'll be disorientated, stunned. This boss here, Companion, I can't remember how to pronounce her name, but she's one of the biggest ones that you have to worry about and look out for. She does a disorient that will last for a maximum of about 10 seconds, and it can play havoc on your kill order. You'll see why in a minute. Now, this second phase is just where Sunstrider, he summons a lot of weapons, a shield, a polearm, a set of bow and stuff. Really, there's not much to it as well. As you can tell, my health hasn't really gone down very much at all. But so if you take them out even just one by one, or you drag them all together as much as possible and AoE them down, it's fine. But I do suggest, as you can see, that they're lootable. For anyone that doesn't know, there's temporary legendary weapons on them. Back in the day, you would have to have your raid pick up these weapons, and they would be used against the final boss. And this day and age, you obviously don't have to, and I suggest not looting them. It gives you a bit more time in between the second and third phases, and if you loot them, they will show up in your guild feed. So you'll find a lot of the news feed for your guild members will be taken up with a big list of orange weapons and stuff. So it's just better on everyone not to bother looting them. But yeah, so this phase here, he raises all four of the guardians together. As you can see, I hit all my cooldowns here, and I AoE as much as possible, but I've been knocked back, so that's kind of ruined my plan, because you want to take these four down as fast as possible. I cannot stress that enough. The female guardian that's there that I pointed out before, you can obviously see I'm being disorientated and being CC'd quite a bit. If you do not take these guys out fast, you will be constantly CC'd and you will die. They will whittle you down and you will eventually drop no matter how much you try. As you can see, I've been disorientated again. Luckily my bleed effects and my dots do kill her off, so that'll be the last for the CC, I think. But as you can tell, if you look at my health now, I've dropped quite a bit. Usually I would stand right in the middle of them, I'd pop all my cooldowns and just AoE. And the knockback effects, usually that won't happen. I'm usually fast enough to take them all out all at once. But obviously, yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So Sunstrider here, it's just a simple... Oh, there's another disorient. It happens with Sunstrider as well, but these ones are unavoidable. This is why you would have the legendary weapons. The legendaries stop you from being CC'd and stuff. And obviously I was too close to him there as well. That flame ring around him does a lot of damage, so I almost died there. But all in all, it was fine. Unfortunately, there was another skip there and I didn't hit record fast enough, but all that was missed out was that I hit him another couple of times and he went into his final phase, which you'll see at the top in a minute. There he is, he's floating up there, gathering all his magical energy and whatnot from these crystals from Tempest Keep itself. So in this time here, it's a good idea to bandage, use any kind of heals that you can, potions, it doesn't matter. This is the best time when he's floating up there. You step back and heal up as much as possible. From here, it's just a straight out DPS really. Just keep hitting him as hard as possible and he will drop. He does a gravity lapse there. Now when gravity lapse happens, you want to get close to the ground so that way when it runs out and wears off, you won't hit the ground and damage yourself. And you don't want to touch the ground because it will bounce you back up. Yeah, there's gravity laps there that I'm pointing at. Now you can see these, I don't know what you'd call them, lightning arcs or something, the purple things. You don't want to go near them either. As you can tell, I will hover over the debuff in a minute, but my life has dropped, the maximum life has dropped, and it says, it's decreased the total health by 20%. That will stack until you are pretty much at 1 point of health. So it can kill you. It doesn't matter what level you are, it can kill you. So here I loot, and there is no Phoenix mount. So it's another week of me waiting until I can loot him again and hopefully eventually get this mount. Got a two-handed sword there. I was looking at it wondering whether I should transmog it, but it doesn't really look that great, so I'll just end up selling it. So anyway, so that's been this week's video. I hope you've enjoyed it and had fun, and yeah, have fun and keep gaming.